All right, we're going to do a notation-based explanation of major and minor chords. Let's give a listen. That's C major, C minor, and this accompanies the other video I did where you're actually looking at my fingers on the piano showing these chords. C major, C minor. You can hear the difference. Okay, let's start over here on C. Simple. If you know your major scales, and you really ought to know your major scales. If you don't, go learn your major scales. Okay, so to make a major triad, you simply take the first note, the third note, and the fifth note of the scale. All right, let me give these quick labels for you. We've got the root, which is known as 1. We've got the third, and we've got the fifth. Simply, well, let's just look over here for a second. Take a look at a C scale. We got C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So we got our first note, our third note, and our fifth note. Easy. Bye-bye. Now, to turn this major chord into this minor chord, we change the middle note. That is the third of the chord. We lower the third by a half step. Let me see if I can notate this here for you. So that will give us a C and E flat, which I'll fix in a second here. Okay, so you've got right here C, E, G, C, E flat, G. Simply we can then identify the structure of the major as the first, the third, and the fifth notes of the scale, and the structure of the minor as the first, the lowered third, and the fifth. It says flat 3, but it really means lowered, and I'll show you an example. We'll do the same thing on D. Wrong tool. So we're going to go D, F, F, A. One more time over here. D, F. Now, if we listen to that, D, F, A, it sounds minor. It is. Because in the D scale, we've got a couple of sharps, and it turns out the third note of the D scale is F sharp. Again, we're just using the root, the third, and the fifth note of the scale. And to go to minor, we've got root, lowered third, fifth. Same structure. I know it says flat third right here, but we're using that flat to just mean lower it by a half step. Okay, and if I label these chords, I've got a D major chord and a D minor chord. Okay, last thing I want to show you, pardon me, is the concept of a chord inversion, and I will go back over to our C major chord. Let's get rid of that sharp. Here, we'll do it right here. Get a brand note, C, E, G. Well, if I take this C, see that purple note there, and I put it up an octave, I now have E, G, C. That is still a C major chord. If I take the E and put it up an octave, and then I've got the notes G, C, E, that's still a major chord. And those numbers still apply. Even though G is the lowest note, it is still the fifth of the chord. C is still the root of the chord, and E is still the third. All right, if you have any questions, let me know. And again, be sure to check out the sibling video of this absolute intro to piano chords. then you can actually see it on the piano. I recommend that you deal with both pounding these out on piano and dealing with this on notation. You should know all of your major scales, and you should figure out all of your chords. End of sermon. Drop me a line if you have any questions. I hope this helps.